personal battles are going to cost us the war. Worry about the test scores. What the hell you think I'm worried about? End of discussion. Debate is over. You will write a formal apology. I will what? A formal apology for your treatment of Mrs. Elliott and Darnell and for your vicious and thoughtless insult to the women of this community. You will kowtow. You will step and fetch. Frank, if you think you can get me used to it, it's the way of the world. If you're so hot on discipline, then goddamn it, start by accepting mine. Because contrary to popular opinion, I'm the head nigger in charge.
Oh, that is literally one of my favorite movies. Y'all know what that is, right? Lean on Me. And I wanted to add that clip because this episode is dedicated to the family and loved ones of Robert Guillame as well as Fats Domino. May they continue to rest and rise in eternal peace and power. Peace and power, family. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of #Freedom, a literary podcast. This week, I'm going to hop right into it and get into all of the black magic that has just been flowing through the universe this past week. We had all of the HBCUs, well, the majority of the HBCUs had their homecomings this weekend. And just seeing all the pictures from HU, well, both of them, Hampton and Howard. I don't know which one is the real one. It's all black. It's all black excellence. It's all black magic. Just the pictures from the fashion to the actual proposals. I mean, HBCU cookouts are literally, I'm sorry, HBCU homecomings are literally like cookouts. Like, it's like a big just family reunion. I love the vibe. Everybody's catching up and networking and just coming together. Like, I love it. So big up to all of the HBCUs. And just remember, you know, while you're there turning up, getting lit, having fun, remember to, you know, donate to your alumni association every now and then because our HBCUs need funding. And moving right along, on to our next Black Magic highlight of the week is Miss Dawn Dixon. Let me tell y'all how dope this queen is. She is the owner and founder of a vending machine that she titled Flat Out. And what that vending machine does is it issues flat shoes to women who need to rest their feet from walking in heels. So dope. Like, we all need it. We all wish that it existed, and a dope black woman has created it. So big up to her for that black magic that she's just spreading all across the world. I'm so excited to see those everywhere, from airports to stadiums. I mean, you name it. Anywhere where there's a large amount of people, busy subway stations. I mean, anything. Like, that's definitely going to be a millionaire moneymaker, and I'm so excited that a black woman created it. Getting right into what's poppin' for the week. Lifetime released a trailer for a film that they are releasing, I think, this weekend. Basically about the Flint Water Crisis. Well, first of all, Lifetime has been trashed since the Aaliyah biopic, where the casting was horrible, the writing was horrible, everything was just horrible. It was trash. They've been trash. That's just Lifetime Movie Network. But they're making a movie about Flint that stars Queen Latifah and Auntie Jill Scott. And the film is just going over the crisis as if it's already ended. Like, I don't understand. Like, the trailer showed this, like, played this really triumphant song in the trailer, like it's something that the citizens of Flint, Michigan have been able to overcome. Well, there are still people there right now who still have brown water, literally filled with so much lead that it's making them sick. Don't you think they could have took that money instead of giving that check to Queen Latifah and the production staff and all the cameras and technology needed? Y'all could have gave that money to Flint and actually helped those families rather than putting this whack-ass movie on Lifetime Movie Network. But moving right along on to something that literally just made me just drop my mouth. Um, there is currently a bubonic plague epidemic in Madagascar. Yeah, bubonic plague. Like, that's a thing. But yes, it is. Since August, 1,192 people have been infected and 124 have died. So, yes, at this point, they are administering antibiotics, slowly administering antibiotics. But I can't help but think, how did it get there? I know they say that it's spread by rats or what have you, but it's kind of interesting timing, don't you think? Kind of just put me, as soon as I was reading the article, it made me think of the Tuskegee experiment. But yeah, definitely, put some positive vibes out there, because we all are African at the end of the day, so that's still our family. So, just we got to put some positive vibes out there, because bubonic plague, like, that sounds like some Bible stuff that my grandmama and them used to talk about. Crazy. Speaking of the Bible and the gospel and the church, the gospel group Mary had to cancel their tour dates because of low ticket sales. Yes. I don't know if y'all remember last week, Tina, one of the members of the group, admitted that she voted for 45 because he was a Christian. She said she looked at both candidates and she could, if she had to pick between one, she didn't really like either candidate, but if she had to choose one, she would choose it based off of religion, which didn't make sense, because have you ever listened to anything that 45 has ever said, sis? But whatever. Yeah, so they literally had to cancel their tour dates because of that. And I kind of had to chuckle, because Business 101, never go against your core audience. Did you not see what's been happening to Shea Moisture? And not only that, but it just made me think, like, I know that religion is such a strong um, part of us as Black people. Like, I get it. We've always been a very spiritual and then forced to be religious people. But at the end of the day, your religion shouldn't be a form of imprisonment that, like, forces you to go against, like, the very thing that you stand for, all in the name of your faith. Like, you literally know this man is against the very skin that you have, but you're voting for him just because y'all share the same Bible. Like, it's listen, to each his own. If it doesn't liberate you, sis, release it. But I'll keep pushing. Moving right along to get them out of here news this week. First of all, I just want to say a rest in power to the young girl, Kenneka Jenkins, who, in a very mysterious way, her body was found in a freezer. I know everybody remembers the viral video of the girl. You look pretty for your birthday. Thank you. Like, all that. But this week, which I'm not sure how, photos of Kenneka's body frozen in the freezer have been released. And I have seen nothing but Black people sharing that photo. And y'all, I'm sorry. We have to stop desensitizing ourselves to seeing lifeless bodies that look like us, that have our same melanin, have our same skin tone. It is not normal, it is not healthy for us to continue to see lifeless bodies, dead bodies of people who look like our sisters, our brothers, our aunts, uncles, cousins, your very own reflection. It's just not. It like I said, it just desensitizes us. Just like, they used to do during the slave times, to leave and lynchings, to leave the bodies hanging, swinging from the trees, blood on the leaves, like just watching us demise. Like, it's not healthy, and we need to stop sharing it. We are making it viral, giving it more likes and views, and think of what that's doing to you mentally. Think of how that is affecting you on a subconscious level. It's just not cool. And just have respect for her family. Right? You wouldn't want to see that. I know we like to think that we are separate, but we all are one. Don't do that. And if you posted it, I unfollowed you, blocked you, and now you know why. Next, we should have got him out of here, but for some reason, if you make good music, we like to give people a pass. But Robert Kelly, the very creep himself, who calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B, which that in itself is creepy. But yet another victim has came out with even more allegations that are very similar to the ones that the others have already stated about being a part of his sort of sex cult, where he forces them to dress a certain way. They can't look at each other. They have to text him permission to use the restroom, and just all of this like pimp culture sort of, you are submissive to me and you bow down to me sort of bullshit. But yet people are still going to R. Kelly concerts and supporting him and his music, and I'm just disgusted. Like, that is pedophilia. It's pedophilia. And I'm sorry, I know that people like to think, like, oh, pedophiles are just like the old men who try to touch 6-year-old little kids. No, that is one form of pedophilia. But another form of it is your homeboy that's like 23 that's dating a 16-year-old. Yeah, that's still pedophilia. R. Kelly preying on these women during their times of vulnerability and using his success as a way to sort of manipulate them and lure them in. Pedophilia. Because a lot of these girls, he's starting with them when they're underage. It's sick. And I'm sorry, like, we see it all too often in our community, and we kind of just like turn a blind eye to it, like, oh, whatever. But if your homeboy is 27 and the mother of his child is, I don't know, 19, but the baby's 4, come on, y'all. Like, we have to have more accountability in our own neighborhood for our own people. And especially for the celebrities that we're funding and giving money to. Because again, R. Kelly should have been up out of here. Out of here. Done. How many more allegations? How many more victims? How many more tapes? How much more evidence do we need? Get him out of here. Like, stop supporting him. We're making him successful at this point. Like, yeah, I get it. He gave us Step in the Name of Love, and we love it, and we dance to it at every black cookout, and your grandmama love it. But at the same time, we have to hold him accountable for the things he's doing in his personal life. And just kind of in that same disgusting vein, Nicki Minaj's brother, Jelani Mirage, is currently on trial for allegations of raping an 11-year-old that happened to be his stepdaughter at the time. And they have since, it's been a very long trial, and of course, because he's Nicki's brother, everything has been in the tabloids and in the headlines. But they have found evidence that his semen matched, the semen found on the little girl's pajamas actually did match his. That was proven. The little girl's brother had to testify in court that he saw some things happen in the house, and was later confronted by Nicki's brother, Jelani, and threatened and slapped, not to say anything. So that in itself, you're not only molesting and harming one child, but then you're manipulating and threatening another, and it's just disgusting. And what really upset me more, just about the same level as the actual allegations, is that Nikki is funding all of this. She is paying for his lawyers. She's dropped um like crazy money to bail him out. Like, it's kind of sickening to me, because again, it's that lack of accountability within our neighborhoods, like within our communities, within our families. Why is it that other women rush to the defense of the abuser? Like, do they not take into account what that does to the women and young girls who do choose to speak out, have the courage to speak out? It almost, forms this sort of divide between us as black women and black children, young black girls. I mean, when you really think about it, with everything that's going on with these allegations like this, like I mentioned with Robert Kelly's disgusting ass and Nicki Minaj's brother, and then everything with Harvey Weinstein, and then the hashtag Me Too, all of this is an issue within our community. And it's something that all too often we ignore and we don't acknowledge. And I get it, with women, sometimes, especially mothers, it's hard to accept the fact that that has happened to your child under your roof. But we have to be more impeccable with our words and how we're speaking to our children, because if we are supposed to be providing a safe haven and a safe environment for them, there should be transparency, so where they tell you something has happened to them and you take action. You don't accuse that child of lying or being promiscuous or any of that foolishness that happens all too often in black households. What happens in this house stays in this house and all that? No, we're not doing that, because at this point, we as a people need to heal. That hashtag Me Too should show, it really showed how many women have experienced sexual abuse and sexual assault. So it's not something that people are just making up. That's not it. It's real. And it's sad to me that victims are often shamed. You think of the young girls who perhaps at a young age became sort of overdeveloped in their looks. They are often slut shamed before they're even sexually active by other women. We gotta make a change, y'all. And it starts with just being vocal about it. And that's what's happening now. Because once we're vocal about it, we have to acknowledge it. And once we acknowledge it, we can start making changes. As women, we need to be not only just listening ears, but not non-judgmental ears, and supportive enough to take action to help those who have been victimized. As men, we need to raise our young, as men, they should raise young boys and hold other men accountable if they see that things are happening that shouldn't. Young boys should be raised to know that they have to respect someone's personal privacy in their body. You're not entitled to someone else because of your gender or what have you. It is a serious problem. And as uncomfortable as it makes people, I'm always going to talk about it. Because everyone who posted and tweeted hashtag Me Too, I knew these women, or I know these women. I've been in class with these women or women like them. Even if I haven't met you, I understand what you went through. So I don't care how uncomfortable it makes people, I'm always going to speak on it. As women, we need to be heard. As men, we need y'all to know that it's not okay, and to hold other men accountable if you know that you're not the type of man that will do it. And we come together to protect those who have been victimized. We don't protect the abuser. We don't protect the person in the family, that uncle that's molesting, or the uncle or the aunt that gets too drunk and touches on people, or no, none of it is acceptable. Because you don't know the damage that that's doing to the person that you just think you're just harmlessly, carelessly just playing around. Especially when it's a child. It is imperative that we discuss those things if and when it does happen to someone within our community, whether it be a young boy or a young girl. Because you never know what lasting effects that will have on someone's life in the long term. Often, those who experience that in their childhood often are overly sexualized and they don't have anyone to talk to about it. So they venture into their teenage years, may experience like this hypersexualized promiscuity stage where people just think they're, the outside world is judging them like, oh, why is she like this? Why is she blah, blah, blah? But what you don't know is that person may be trying to fill a void. And if we were just impeccable with our words and with intention and sincerity, actually try to connect with our youth, we would see that a lot of them are just reacting to a negative thing that has happened to them in their adolescence. And a lot of people don't like it, but with all of the young girls that I mentor, I'm very transparent with them. I want them to feel like they can speak to me about anything, and they always do. Every single one of them came to me and let me know anything that was bothering them. And that is something that I value more than anything, because I was able to help them in ways that they didn't feel like they could rely on with their parents or with older siblings or whatever. I provided that for them. And those are the type of channels and networks that we need to have within our communities, especially with the youth today, with everything that's going around, from the diseases to the over drug use. You don't want them to turn down the wrong path over something that could have been eliminated by just having someone that they can confide in and trust that that person isn't going to judge them and actually help them. To be completely honest, if there is transparency when discussing sexuality and in sexual situations, you could possibly eliminate that promiscuity in that during those teenage years, because you can help them understand and heal from what has happened to them. And not only that, but you can teach them self-love and self-acceptance, so they're not harboring that hatred and guilt within themselves because of what an abuser did to them. Oftentimes they feel that because that happened, they have to continue to express love in that physical, sexual way. But if you are there with that knowledge to show them, and that wisdom and that genuine care, to be that person to say, you are not a vessel that is to be just used for someone else's pleasure. Like, you yourself are of value. And a lot of our teens don't know that. And a lot of our adults don't either. We have to heal. And it starts with acknowledgement. On that note, let's take a break. So this week we will be reading from one of my absolute favorite books. It is The 4 Agreements. It has been very important to just my journey and how I handle things in life. They are 4 agreements that I think that we're all familiar with, but I really like how this was illustrated in this book, and the style of writing is very easy to digest. So figured it's something that we can go over together with the 4 agreements. And as mentioned, I will be opening our email for questions, suggestions. So definitely feel free to email us with any feedback or any questions that you would like for us to address. We will have sort of a listener's letter section where I will read and respond to any issues, questions about jobs, what we're reading, relationships, friendships. I mean, whatever. Let's build and let's talk. But for now, we will be reading the 4 agreements, and we will go over all 4 for the next few weeks. All right, let's get started. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Through the word, you express your creative power. It is through the word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the word. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? The human. Pause. The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. But like a sword with 2 edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your word. The human mind is like a fertile ground where seeds are continually being planted. The seeds are opinions, ideas, and concepts. You plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed, and the human mind is so fertile. The only problem is that too often it is fertile for the seeds of fear. Every human mind is fertile, but only for those kinds of seeds it is prepared for. What is important is to see which kind of seeds our mind is fertile for and to prepare it to receive the seeds of love. All right, so in this book, they say black magic as a form of like a negative energy. Personally, I have completely removed the negative connotation of the term black because I think that, and you know, I don't think the author meant any harm by it, but I will no longer perpetuate that black is something negative. So we won't say black magic. We're going to replace that with negative energy. All right. Okay. Looking at everyday human interactions, imagine how many times we cast spells on each other with our word. Over time, this interaction has become the worst form of negative energy, and we call it gossip. Gossip is negative energy at its very worst because it's pure poison. We learned how to gossip by agreement. When we were children, we heard the adults around us gossiping all the time, openly giving their opinions about other people. They even had opinions about people they didn't even know. Emotional poison was transferred along with the opinions, and we learned this as a normal way to communicate. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in human society. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. There is an old expression that says misery loves company, and people who are suffering in hell don't want to be all alone. Fear and suffering are an important part of this planet. They are how the dream of the planet keeps us down. Using the analogy of the human mind as a computer, gossip can be compared to a computer virus. A computer virus is a piece of computer language written in the same language all the other codes are written in, but with a harmful intent. This code is inserted into the program of your computer when you least expect it, and most of the time without your awareness. After this code has been introduced, your computer doesn't work quite right, or it doesn't function at all because the codes get so mixed up with so many conflicting messages that it stops producing good results. Human gossip works exactly the same way. One little piece of misinformation can break down communication between people, causing every person it touches to become infected and contagious to others. Imagine that every single time others gossip to you, they insert a computer virus into your mind, causing you to think a little less clearly every time. Then imagine that in an effort to clean up your own confusion and get some relief from the poison, you gossip and spread these viruses to someone else. Now imagine this pattern going on in a never-ending chain between all the humans on Earth. The result is a world full of humans who can only read information through circuits that are clogged with a poisonous, contagious virus. Even worse are the negative energies or computer hackers who intentionally spread the virus. Think back to a time when you or someone you know was angry with someone else and desired revenge. In order to seek revenge, you said something to or about that person with the intention of spreading poison and making that person feel bad about him or herself. As children, we do this quite thoughtlessly, but as we grow older, we become much more calculated in our efforts to bring other people down. Then we lie to ourselves and say that person received a just punishment for their wrongdoings. When we see the world through a computer virus, it is easy to justify the clueless behavior. What we don't see is that misuse of our word is putting us deeper into the negative energy. For years, we have received the gossip and spells from the words of others, but also from the way we use our word with ourselves. We talk to ourselves constantly, and most of the time we say things like, "Oh, I look fat, I look ugly, I'm getting old, I'm losing my hair, I'm stupid, I never understand anything, I will never be good enough, and I'm never going to be perfect." Do you see how we use the word against ourselves? We must begin to understand what the word is and what the word does. If you understand the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, you begin to see all the changes that can happen in your life. Changes first in the way you deal with yourself, and later in the way you deal with other people, especially those you love the most. Consider how many times you have gossiped about the person you love the most to gain the support of others for your point of view. Pause. When you arguing with Bay and you trying to get some positive feedback and just get people to be on your side, and you're telling nothing but the negative, and you're only telling what he or she did wrong, but you're not telling what you did wrong and holding yourself accountable. You're just kind of throwing them under the bus just so they can be like, "Oh yeah, you right. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. I'll keep pushing." How many times have you hooked other people's attention and spread poison about your loved one in order to make your opinion right? Your opinion is nothing but your point of view. It is not necessarily true. Your opinion comes from your beliefs, your own ego, and your own reality. We create all this poison and spread it to others just so we can feel right about our own point of view. If we adopt the first agreement and become impeccable with our word, any emotional poison will eventually be cleaned from our mind and from our communication in our personal relationships. Impeccability of the word will also give you immunity from anyone putting a negative spell on you. You will only receive a negative idea if your mind is fertile ground for that idea. When you become impeccable with your word, your mind is no longer fertile ground for words that come from negative energy. Instead, it is fertile for the words that come from love, You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. How much you love yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good, you feel happy and at peace. You can transcend just by making the agreement to be impeccable with your word. Right now, I am planting that seed in your mind. Whether or not the seed grows depends upon how fertile your mind is for the seeds of love. It is up to you to make this agreement with yourself. I am impeccable with my word. Nurture this seed, and as it grows in your mind, it will generate more seeds of love to replace the seeds of fear. This first agreement will change the kind of seeds your mind is fertile for. Be impeccable with your word. This is the first agreement that you should make if you want to be free, if you want to be happy, if you want to transcend the level of existence. It is very powerful. Use the word in the correct way. Use the word to share your love. Use your magic, beginning with yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, how great you are. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Use the word to break all those teeny tiny agreements that make you suffer. It is possible. It is possible because I did it, and I am no better than you. No, we are exactly the same. Hey, reflection. We have the same kind of brain, the same kind of bodies. We are humans. If I was able to break those agreements and create new agreements, then you can do the same. If I can be impeccable with my word, why not you? Just this one agreement can change your whole life. Impeccability of the word can lead you to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. It can take away all fear and transform it into joy and love. Just imagine what you can create with the impeccability of the word. With the impeccability of the word, you can transcend the dream of fear and live a different life. You can live in heaven in the middle of thousands of people living in hell because you are immune to that negative energy. You can attain the kingdom of heaven and true happiness from this one agreement. Be impeccable with your word. All right, and that was the first agreement of the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Here you go. No copyright infringement. I don't want no trouble. This is the book. If you are interested in reading along with me, it is a good read. And like I said, I love how simple and realistic it is broken down. And we'll be going over the other 3 agreements within the next few weeks. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, this podcast is powered by Conscious Kingdom. It is where culture and conscious combine. We are online. Feel free to shop. We post new items almost every week. So check us out at shopconsciouskingdom.com. That's shopconsciouskingdom.com. We are also located inside of Military Circle Mall if you're in Norfolk, Virginia. We are online everywhere, social media wise. So follow us at Conscious Kingdom on Facebook, Instagram. And like I said, you can email us and it'll be right here in the bio or in the caption. You can email us with any questions that you want us to answer, any comments that you have about the podcast. I'd love some feedback, any topics you'd like for us to discuss, any special guests you'd like for us to have, any books you'd like for us to read. This is about us growing and evolving together. Remember, applied knowledge is power, and the best way to receive that knowledge is through the art of literacy. And we do that by reading. Leaders are readers, and I love you. I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.